Hello, everyone. This is Kelly Berger, and welcome to episode number 3 of the Kelly Berger Podcast. I'm the main host, Kelly Berger, and on tech support, we have my brother Darren. And today, our guest is a good friend of mine, Mike Lester. He is an Acme headliner, co-host of the very popular podcast I Love You, Manna, and also he holds the title of the True Rat King of Comedy. Keep it going for our friend Mike Lester.
Yes,
Hey there,
sir.
Mike.
Yes, sir. What's up, Kelly?
Not much. It's good to see you again. This is like my first time seeing you post beard.
Yeah. I grew a I guess you could call it a goatee. I'm nothing compared to you and your brother though. I mean, look at these.
Yep, I got the hair. He's got the beard.
I love it.
Yep.
Can you grow a beard, Kelly?
Yeah, I can, but I decided to shave it off since from the stage point, all you see is like the bottom half of the beard and not the mustache. So on stage, if I have like the full beard, I just like look like a full neck beard incel.
Or Amish?
Yeah.
I think you'd be a good Amish person, Kelly.
Yeah, I do have that simple lifestyle, and I'm happy with very little.
I love it. That's all you need.
Yeah, it's good to see you again, Mike. It's been like almost 3 years since we've seen each other in person.
That's wild, man. I can't believe it. Because when did you move to Austin?
It's 2 years ago.
Wow. How's it been going, dude?
It's been an adjustment. Like the first year, it was just basically just like free flowing. Comedy was new again.
Yeah.
Things are starting to pick up a little bit more this year, but it was still a hard one.
Sure, man. Yeah.
Yeah, like going from like a small Minneapolis scene to like a major hub wasn't a major adjustment. I think if I asked you like your opinions on LA, it would probably match my opinions on Austin at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough to when you have so many comics, especially like Austin is the new like hot spot.
Yes.
So there's a lot of I don't know if you call it competition, but there's just so few spots and so many comics. So
yep,
it's tough, dude. But good for you for making the jump, man.
Yep, I'm down here being the Minneapolis representative.
Yeah. Do you talk about Minneapolis at shows?
Mostly in my intro with my autism. That's
yeah. You're like, I cut my teeth in a, in a pretty edgy scene.
Yeah, but I like about what Austin has is like it has a lot of enthusiasm, but it's still sort of like a newish scene. It's like a comic gold rush.
Yeah.
And people are quickly learning, like, yeah, people go to comedy to try to escape like the corporate bullshit, but there's still a lot of it behind the scenes.
Yeah. What do you mean by corporate BS? Just like there being a hierarchy or like there's like a pipeline of how to get spots and stuff?
Yeah, well, people sort of go in the comedy sort of like to escape the rules, but there's a lot of like hidden business rules with like any organization.
What are some of the hidden business rules?
Well, like knowing the right people and knowing how to present yourself in like the right room. Like, for example, if somebody like goes into like a CCU with like a Coon Rapids mindset.
Yeah, that's probably not the best approach, Kelly.
Right.
Oh, I missed you, man.
Yeah,
I missed you.
I miss Minneapolis too, which is why I started this podcast, and also to learn how to be more human.
Nah, you're great, man. You've always been a great guy.
Thanks.
You've always been a nice guy.
Yeah, Mike, how's your dad doing?
He's doing good, man. I got him a gigantic like a tactical machete for Christmas. And I didn't know he wasn't allowed to have it at his sober living, so he like sent me a video of him hiding it in his car. So I think I armed him without knowing. But now he loves it. He's doing well though, man. He's sober. He's doing good.
Well, it's good he knows how to hide his weapons. He'll prepare him for the apocalypse.
Oh yeah, yeah. Or just like a disagreement with someone on the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's waiting for the day that he gets cut off.
Yeah, like Mike, I really enjoyed like the jokes you tell about your family. And Darren, you remember seeing Mike at Acme with our aunt?
Yes. What night was that?
It was my birthday a couple years ago. Like Mike,
That's
you were
right. That's right. I
Yeah,
am
Mike-
sorry. It's been a while.
Mike, you were like the only comic my aunt liked at Acme that night.
That is 100% true.
What was the lineup? That's rare that I'm usually the one the ants hate the most, so you must have a cool aunt.
Yeah, well, it was like she didn't know about like the quality of open micers before the regulars come up, and I think one of that night was we had like I don't remember the guy's name, but he was severely mentally ill, and he screamed a lot about against Christianity.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's the beauty of open mics, man.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot of special souls.
It's an open field.
It's an open field for people to just sound off and say things they may regret later.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's the open mic scene is a lot of fun in Austin. Like last Wednesday, there was a comic who went on stage and used a taser as a prop.
What? What do you mean? Was he tasing himself?
No, he was just holding the taser. I'm going like, zzz, zzz, zzz.
Wow. Okay.
It was like it worked very well. It was sort of like a cue card for a punchline.
Oh, it was like how some comics like bang the mic stand to signal crowds that he would threaten to tase the crowd.
Or tase some, or get prepared to protect himself from a heckler if they ran on stage.
Yeah, or tase himself.
Yeah, I'm surprised nobody did that up in Willie's.
Yeah, that was a wild time, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was a wild time. Those were the glory days.
Yeah, and I'm really glad I experienced like Willie's and Grumpy's before I came down to Austin.
Yeah, when did you start comedy?
It was, well, there's like 3 different start dates. Like when I first did the open mic in 2009, which I only did like 2 times that year. And then what I did it doing regularly was during 2012, which for 2 years, I was driving all the way up from Little Falls down to Minneapolis for 2 years. And then I moved down to Minneapolis in 2014, which some people say is like the real definition of starting comedy when I became part of the Minneapolis scene.
Yeah.
Yep.
You came down a lot though before you moved here.
Yep. It was back and forth, like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
I mean, I drove you a lot.
Yep. I remember the first night I did comedy was at Acme. Darren drove me with his friend.
Yeah.
Yep. We had a good time. We had a good set at Acme. Then afterwards, Darren's friend took us to Gay 90s for some weird reason.
He was a tourist.
Yep.
What? Why did he take you there?
Because he was a drunk and he wanted to show us a glory hole for some reason.
That's awesome, dude.
I forgot about that part.
He was a drunk and wanted to show us a glory hole.
Yeah, this was this was 2009 before homosexuality became mainstream. So this was sort of like a tourist thing saying, oh, look, this is the thing we've heard about in the subculture.
Yeah, it's like taking you to a zoo. Taking you to a zoo where the animals can get their fluids on you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we also saw a congressman that night.
Really? Did you see Jacob Fry?
Who knows?
You see Jacob Fry getting pegged at the 90s?
Before he got pegged by the polls.
Yeah, man. Wow. Yeah. What a pit stop.
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember from the 90s? Like how deep did you go into it? Did you like go to the dance floor? Did he just take you right to the glory hole, or like what was the tour like?
He just walked us around, and like one guy said hi to me, which I felt kind of disappointed.
Yeah, you're a catch, man.
Mm-hmm.
You were there on an off night. If it was like a Tuesday, that's an off night.
Oh yeah.
If you went there on the weekends, you would flourish.
Mm-hmm. Be
You
like
would
an
flourish.
Epstein Island catch.
Yeah, that's a little different demographic, but yeah, I know
Yep.
what you mean. Yeah.
Yep. So Mike, how have things been going for you in the last couple of years? Like I've been out of Minneapolis for 2 years. Is the scene still thriving?
I think the scene's better than it's ever been, man. I mean, we miss you up here. We're proud of what you're doing down in Austin. But yeah, dude, I mean, there's a lot of great stage time. It's a very supportive scene. Everyone gets along. Yeah, there's no drama. I mean, it's awesome, dude. It's yeah, I think it's the best it's ever been.
Yeah, I strongly recommend like starting out in Minneapolis before going up to like the hubs like New York, LA, and now Austin.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the beauty now, right? Is with the internet, you can just be based anywhere
Mm-hmm.
and kind of grow your following. But definitely, I mean, as far as just like same day opportunities, I mean, Austin is probably the number one spot right now.
Yep, it's a gold rush down here.
Have you done the mothership yet?
I got on the open mic a couple months ago.
Oh, nice. How'd it go?
It went very well. I have a lot of friends who work in the mothership now.
Yeah. You tried to get what's the hiring process there for like door people?
Well, I think you just go through the open mic, and then it's hired, ran by like, I'm trying to remember the guy's name, like Andy Eggett.
Okay.
He used to be the talent coordinator for the Comedy Store, and now he moved to Austin.
Yeah.
And yeah, and there's also like 4 clubs like right on 6th Street you can go through.
Yeah, the Sunset Strip, right? Is that one?
Yep, that's run by Red Band's club.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And there's
man. Wild.
Vulcan Gas Company and Creek in the Cave.
Wow. So you could do like 4 spots a night easy.
Yep. I try to use Mondays as my own personal like crash and burn.
Yeah. Practice the new stuff.
Yep.
Get it cooking. Yeah, I feel like you getting into the mothership, that's a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
That's a no-brainer.
Yep, I had a good set there a couple months ago, but the process for getting on the mothership is it's like a bucket pull to get on like every Sunday and Monday.
Yeah, that's just like the store with the potluck mics.
Yep. So, and I've had like people start out with me, and this feels like you can get like a ton of work just by getting your name pulled out of the bucket, or just like struggling by just like in LA.
Yeah, man, it's tough. I mean, you know, just to stay consistent and to stay booked it's tough, man. If you're not one of like the 10 comics that can sell out like any venue, you know, that conceivably, then yeah.
Yep. And also I'm doing more cold calling venues directly now, because like I'm sort of like picking up like one of the bad habits I had back in Minneapolis, where I don't like network enough and sort of ask for stuff.
Yeah.
Feel like I have to be qualified to get on these shows.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely about who you know, but I think you cold calling venues is something that like everyone is doing, and it's like that's the best way to make money now, because why would you like block out a week to make the same money you could make in a night from just a good one-nighter? Like that's what we're in 2024. You know Ben Katzner, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember you and him then. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great mic, but that's
Rosa?
kind of our Rosa. Oh yeah, baby Rosa. Where black guys would call me Tom Arnold every week. But But Ben and I mean, that's our plan this next year, is to just like basically create like a Midwest brewery database and just do as many one-nighter breweries as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just make more money that way.
Yep. And also, this is what you learn when you do comedy for more and more years. People think like, oh, a handful of select people have all the jobs and keys, but then you learn like, oh, it's more of like an open field.
Yeah, I mean, with the internet, man, it is what you make of it. And yeah, the clubs, I mean, these booking agencies too are so saturated with emails, like it can get frustrating just like waiting to be picked. But then you realize like just booking your own shows is the way to go, at least for now, until like you're rep by Live Nation or something fucking ridiculous like that.
Yep. And also those agencies, they take a lot of your pay because they're saying like, oh, we're doing the booking, we're getting you on stage.
Oh yeah, it's insane, man. And also it's like you take these bookings through these agencies and then you find out the venue has like 6 sponsors for the show and is making like 15 grand for the show, and you're like headlining for 250, and you're like, why the fuck wouldn't I just do this on my own?
Yep. And I don't know if I told you about this or if you heard about this. I did my own headlining set in Lake of the Woods right before I moved out of Minnesota.
Oh, how'd that go, Kelly boy?
We had 2 shows, went very well. I was able to make 400 off of that gig and give like my 2 feature spots 150.
That's great. That's great, Kelly.
Yeah, it felt really good to also just put my own show together. And
yeah, man, it's gratifying. It's like you did it and you made the shows happen, and yeah, that's good stuff, because then Lake of the Woods now knows they can do comedy up there.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do a return, or you could like pass it on to someone else to run a show up there. But
yeah,
yeah,
I think
go ahead.
I think Max did a couple shows up there because he was also went up with me that gig.
Yeah, I love Max. He's great.
Yep, he's a great person to work with.
He's a great guy. Hustles.
Mm-hmm.
That guy hustles. He's ripping wire. He's selling copper wiring. He's like, yeah.
He's a full-on carpenter, both in comedy and off comedy.
Yeah. He's great. He's a grinder, man. I respect it a lot.
Yep. It's good. I knew he would be the good person like to hand off the mantle to do shows at Terminal after I left.
Yeah, dude, those are great. There's so many great shows in Minnesota, and just like, yeah, the more independent producers take the reins and put the shows in our hands rather than like these some promoters know how to do it, some don't.
Right.
But it's all on you if you produce it. So yeah, why not just put it all on you and make sure it's as good as it can be?
And also, when you produce your own shows, you can say what you want and not be worried about being canceled.
Yeah. I had a stinker of a holiday party gig a few weeks ago where they just weren't having me, and it got to the point where I was trying to like get them to confess to like war crimes and stuff in the crowd. I was just doing crowd work trying to get people to confess to crimes, and they were not happy.
Was it a Halliburton gig?
No, it was for it was for this I can't say the company's name, but I kept saying the company's name wrong. And I didn't even realize it. I kept calling them the completely wrong name.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a disappointment. And I accidentally had a THC seltzer and had to drive home high as fuck. So that wasn't an hour in the darkness high.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like making deals with God. Like, if I make it to my garage, things are going to change,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to be better. I'm going to make amends. I'm not going to do mushrooms before a corporate gig. But,
yes.
It is what it is, Kelly.
Yep.
We made it back. No DUI. Hallelujah.
That's good. Yeah. Thank goodness. Yeah, Mike, I started watching your podcast, I Love You, Manna, and that's very entertaining. When did you guys start that?
Oh man, we started that in 2019 now. It's been like 4 years, and it started as a Magic the Gathering podcast and is now like devolved into kind of just like a very extreme hang session where I think definitely if you were going to check it out, check out the YouTube and like the video component, because we're watching crazy shit on there.
Yep.
Yeah, did you see the cake fart episode?
I saw parts of them. Before I started this podcast, I was watching the one you last did where you were doing pissy noise during your conversation with Zach.
Oh yeah, where I was taking a piss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do that a lot. When Zach starts going off, I'll just go and take a leak usually.
Yep. Yeah, you and Zach have like a very entertaining dynamic on that show. Like Zach makes a good heel.
Yeah. Zach and I were pretty combative on that program, and some people think it's real, and they it's like people think it's so funny that people think that friction is real, whereas it's like if that were real, how would we have made it through 4 years so far of collaborating together? If like this is real, it's just like people talking shit. Those are kind of my favorite podcasts too, is where like the hosts kind of talk shit amongst themselves. Yep. Or just it's like a hang. But yeah, I love working with Zach, man. I'm gonna go see Wonka with him tonight.
Nice. I was going to do a podcast with Max Chapman, but he saw Napoleon and got sick.
Really? Today?
Last week.
Yeah. Dude, everyone's getting COVID again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, especially up in the Midwest. It's like spiking in the Midwest.
Okay.
But yeah, everyone's sick, dude.
Bunch of my coworkers got COVID over the last month.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't.
You're just you're resilient.
Yeah, so far I haven't gotten yet. I've been in the clear so far.
Yeah. Well, good. I want the Berger boys to stay healthy in the new year.
It's appreciated.
Absolutely. We got to stick together.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kelly, who are some of your like dream guests for this program? Like, if you could have anyone on the show, who would you want? Like,
well,
alive or dead? Alive or dead?
I got one of my favorite comics next month booked for January.
Who's that?
Josh Florhog.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I'll be in LA pretty soon. I got to go see what Joshy's up to.
Yeah, I remember when I went to LA 2 years ago. No, wait, 2019.
Yeah.
Now, I remember seeing Josh down in LA, and I went to a couple open mics with my other brother, Brent, during that time. We had a good time down there.
Yeah, I remember one of my most vivid memories of Josh Florhog is I went with him to the doctor's office because he was getting like his hemorrhoids bounded.
Oh, going one of those episodes?
Yeah, and like one of his butt cheeks was completely like black and blue. and he left me out in the waiting room, and I just started like reading this like vaginal rejuvenation pamphlet out loud, like to the point where they like went and talked to him about it. They were like, whoever you brought with you is making this waiting room really uncomfortable. Because, dude, I mean, some of these pussies, I mean, they were fucking, I mean, it was like a basset hound's face. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Just wrinkly and yes, just
wild. Good thing you were just doing your part, spreading awareness.
I was being an asshole. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Floor Hog, he's got some hemorrhoid problems, man.
Mm-hmm. Glad we're sharing this out publicly for everyone to hear it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's more maybe
Mm-hmm.
this will help someone that listens get their hemorrhoids checked.
Yep. Did you see his pizza commercial?
Yeah. I'm proud of him, dude.
Yep.
He's going for it. What'd you think of it?
I watched it's a good thing he was on the couch.
Yeah. He should do a fucking hemorrhoid cream commercial. How good would that be?
Yeah, it was he would be truthful in it.
Yeah, he could speak from experience.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love Floor Hog. I've known him so long.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy.
Yep. He was great one. I can't wait to talk with him coming January.
Yeah. But who's like your dream guest? And it doesn't have to be a comic either. Who would you want?
Let's see. Well, I'd like to have a good conversation with Fancy Ray and Mary Mac down the line once things get pumping.
Oh,
and also,
Fancy Ray, you could get now.
Yep.
Just call him or tweet at him.
Yep. I'm trying to get like a solid schedule down. And also, once I get this podcast up and running, I'm going to also try to do some more in-person interview with some Austin locals.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good ones down here that are making that I really enjoy watching in person.
Yeah, who are some of your favorites?
There's this one comic who, when you first see him, you're just gonna go like, "What the hell?" But then, when you watch him in person, he just is a comic named Casey Rocket.
Oh, I know him.
Yep.
Yeah, he's great. He
Yep,
does the crab thing.
Yep, he's the crab man.
Yeah. He's popping off, dude, with like William Montgomery and stuff.
Yep. Yep. I've seen him in person. I talked to him. He's a very nice guy in person.
Yeah.
And he does watching him perform, he sort of does like that Jim Carrey sort of Dane Cook where he's physically acting out his jokes and he projects like the emotion of enjoyment.
Yeah.
And I would really like to see like a straight edge political comic steal his jokes and try to say it's straight edge.
Yeah, man. It's like that old Bernie Mac quote. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. He's my dream guest.
Yeah.
For I Love You Mana.
And also I met David Jolly. If you, I don't know if you watched Kill Tony, he's been on there a couple of times.
Yeah, you did kill Tony.
Yep, it was January of 2022. It was right when I first got down here.
Did it go good?
The set went well. I got a big joke book, but the interview went sort of like how I usually talk in person.
Yeah.
It's super autistic.
Yeah, but they understood that. You like told them that, right?
Yep, it was. I'm glad that I led that up front.
Yeah, that's important.
I'll send you like the episode via like Instagram or just tell you which is with Danny Brown and JPEG if you want to look it up.
Oh, that's great. Did Danny Brown like you?
They had fun roasting me.
Oh, well.
But it was a fun experience, and Tommy like it was like you watch the interview thinking like, oh, I can nail this, but then even someone at my level got stage fright, and after that episode, that's when I started looking up like books on like how to have decent conversation, and also one of the reasons why I'm doing this now, just to have better conversations, to be more human.
Hey, that's great, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Yeah, that's like the key to happiness too, is like relationships. So being able to speak to your friends and just speak to people you're just meeting to form new relationships and friendships. I mean, that's huge, dude. Mm-hmm. Good for you.
And also to learn to see what's in front of you and not what's in your head.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, actively listening rather than thinking about what you're going to say.
Yep.
That's something I've even struggled with.
Oh,
yeah,
that's something I struggle with too.
Yeah. I think more people than we realize struggle with that.
Yep, because like with the age of the internet, like more people are on public display, and so they're sort of like on guard, saying like, "Oh, how are people going to perceive me?"
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't really worry about that, but
Yeah, well, yeah. Once you get used to being like a public performer, you sort of just, and also as you get older, like the filter melts down.
you also just stop caring.
Yep.
You just stop caring because it's like I don't fucking care if like people in their early 20s don't like me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you don't have any money. Who gives a shit? Like you weren't gonna buy a fucking ticket.
Yeah. It's fun, like how the people who complain the most about comedy don't go to comedy.
No, they don't do comedy. Yeah, I think critics need to go, dude. Like even like film critics and shit, it's like you said, it's across the board. It's like film critics, you've never made a movie, you've never written a fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and by deterring people from watching movies, you're just hurting the movie industry. Like with comedy, if you're deterring people from going out and supporting live comedy, you're just hurting the comedy business, which isn't fucking good for anyone.
Yeah.
So just because a comic offended you or they're not your cup of tea doesn't mean like they're not going to appeal to one of the fucking 12 billion other people on the planet.
Yep. And sometimes a mean comic will get a mean audience.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My crowds they can be a little ruthless. They can be a little ruthless nowadays.
Did they try to get you to do crowd work?
Yeah, I mean that's what they come for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they come for. It's a lot of riffs. It's a lot of riffing now, Kelly.
Yep.
Because I'm
Especially at
lazy.
bar shows.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's yeah, the art of crowd work though has been it's been elevated definitely. A lot of people are
Mm-hmm.
dipping their toes in that now. Whereas I've always enjoyed doing it.
Yep. I remember.
Yeah, I was into it way before like the clip craze.
Yep. It was like one of those skills you needed for some nights at Willie's.
Dude, I just needed them because I started when I was 17 and I was like, I might get my fucking ass kicked.
Oh, yeah.
I might get assaulted after my set.
And also, I remember like hearing like the famous story, like when you first started out, you would go to some of the bars and clubs with your mom and she got kicked out.
Yeah, oh yeah. I remember my mom, it was shortly after my sister gave birth to my niece. I took my mom to Corner Bar and she got shit housed because she hadn't slept in 2 days because my sister had been giving birth. And then my mom gets wrecked and sits front row, heckles the entire comedy show, gets thrown out of the Corner Bar, and she left like a bouquet of flowers she bought from some guy. And so she's just screaming while they're trying to pull her out to like, she's like, bring me my flowers back. And then she got kicked out, snuck back in to come get her flowers. And she's like, you're going to give me my fucking flowers. And like that night helped me so much because I went up to and tore into her. Like they're like, oh, Mike won't tear into her. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you should have just stayed at the hospital. So people are like, what is this, mom sick? You know, like what? But yeah, man.
Did your response back to her get you grounded?
No, I was fucking 17. There was no ground in me. That was before my mom got sober too. So she would just drink like 2 bottles of wine a night and pass out on the couch. So there was no like disciplinary actions.
Yeah. And how were the first few years, like starting out super young in comedy, like getting exposed to like all to the older comic riffraff at a young age?
I mean, a lot of it was like getting called a faggot early on. That was a big part of my upbringing in comedy. Man, I think it was good. I think I got
Mhm.
lucky. I think Minneapolis is a great scene.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude, it was good. I mean, it was fucking crazy. It was like going to Winona at 17 and getting paid in bottles of wine and like getting wine drunk. And I remember like a
I'll
comic
save
that,
these for my. I'll save these
yeah,
when I turn 21.
oh, I downed them. I
Oh,
was like, I was puking in the streets. But yeah, I remember a comic that was with us like stole a fuel pump and like threw it at a semi while the car was moving. Just crazy times, dude.
mm-hmm. Now that's a good time to actually start doing comics because your mind is sort of like still very plastic at that age where it can be molded. And like we've seen comics who started comedy in like in their early 40s, and there is a
Yeah.
big advantage of starting young.
I think, yeah, it's the same thing with anything, right? It's just like getting reps in and getting experience. My mind was like flexible and spongier, but I may have fucked that up with like drugs. So, time will tell. But yeah, I definitely don't regret starting so young
Yep.
because now I'm 31 and I'm 14 years into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like November 9th was like my 14th year anniversary. So yeah, dude, because the thing about it too is stand up I think is just like an excellent base. It's just like a great baseline talent to have that can launch you into other avenues of like this business, like writing or acting or
Yep.
podcasting. So
You're
having
sort of doing like you're sort of like
yeah,
doing like 3 jobs on your own, like writing, acting, and directing
mhm,
yourself.
exactly. And when you get on a set, like a movie set, like you're generally going to be pretty comfortable as a stand-up because we're used to doing like horrific bar shows where nothing, there's no control whatsoever, and
Yep.
like you're 5 hours from your house and could just be like disappeared into a ditch by
Mm-hmm.
like whatever methed up trucker is like looking to have issues with you. So it's just a great base for like confidence. And yeah, man, I would not change a thing. And my first few years I was just lucky to be in a scene where I got a lot of stage time. And the comics that did want to help me, like I'll never forget and I can never thank enough. And the comics that don't want to help you, generally they
Mm-hmm.
quit. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing I liked about Minneapolis. It's sort of like it was a mixture between like new comics with old veterans, and
Mm-hmm.
like in LA and Austin, like there's like a segregation between people starting on people doing the pro shows.
Yeah. They don't really all hang. There's not a lot of like intermingling because here it's just like everyone hangs.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone just hangs out with each other. There's no like hierarchy or anything.
Yep, I consider like Minneapolis like comedy high school, where people come in, they learn the trade,
Yeah.
and they do it. There's a little scene drum every now and then, which is like a smaller scene. It's sort of like a family, and families argue and disagree.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
One thing that I'll say about Minneapolis, though, is just as someone who has been to Kelly with a lot of open mic nights with Kelly, is a lot
Sure.
of times I was the only person there who wasn't a comedian,
Yeah.
and some of those experiences were the coolest one ever, where comic after comic was just staring at me while doing their stuff.
Yeah.
So if there's anyone out there who has family who's doing stand up, I'd recommend going with them to an open mic at some point.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my first few years, I had to bring my dad with me. I was so young. So my dad's like become part of Minneapolis comedy folklore because like I would bring him to Willie's and my dad would like have 6 drinks. Like that's how I learned to drive was I would have to be sober cab back from Willie's because he would get like shit housed I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, go check it out. Like, if you have someone in your family that they're pursuing this and they love it, yeah, go support them, like, at least once.
Yep. And Darren also was with me when I took my trip down to Austin to check out the mics.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost got heat stroke at the crick in the cave too.
Wow.
I forgot. Yeah. Well, I forgot just how strong the sun is in the south compared to up here. So I was just pouring sweat until I wasn't. Then I realized, well, that's probably a bad thing.
Yeah, you ran out of sweat.
Mm-hmm.
I remember just since we're talking about family coming to shows, I did this show in LA that was like right by Skid Row at this bar called the Lexington. And my cousins that were out there at the time were like, we're going to come see you. We're so excited. And I was like, you should not come to this show. It's on Skid Row. This is a dangerous area of town. And they come, my two cousins were the only people that weren't like homeless in the crowd. It was literally like my two cousins and then like just 7 of the most like just like, you know how it's like you'll see someone with a cardboard sign and you're like, well, it's 50-50 what they're going through. Like, these people had been homeless for years that were like in the crowd. One guy had a pair of underwear on his head.
Wow.
That was sitting in the crowd.
Was it clean?
No. And I remember Steve Gillespie did the show too. And he tried to talk to the guy and he's like, hey, buddy, what are you wearing there on your head? And the guy's like, these are my motherfucking drawers. And he got like pissed. And my cousins were like, I don't know why the fuck you do this. Like, this is the most terrifying shit we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you picked the Skid Row open mic to come to. So.
Oh, I remember when I was in LA, we did one open mic that was like in a storage unit in an alleyway behind a grocery store.
Yeah.
Me and Brent went there and it was pretty intense. Like, people in the comics were standing like in the alleyway and there were cars just driving through.
Yeah. Yeah, they're crazy. I mean, the amount of shows out in LA that just happen like by hot dog carts, or I remember doing one in a cafe at like 4 p.m. where like this black comic got up and just like, he saw me perform, but he still like came after me when I sat back down in the crowd and he was like threatening to fuck me his whole set. And I'm like, this is a real melting pot of talent out here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's wild, dude, where as long as you have a mic and an amp, like, a show can happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking, I'm trying to steer conversation back to acting. Do you want to tell the story about your part in American Vandals, that picture?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that was when I was living in LA. I didn't even know what the project was, but I got cast for it. To play a high schooler. And I think I was like 24 or 25 at the time. But yeah, I got to go to the Funny or Die like offices. And yeah, I remember like bringing a bag of clothes for them to pick from and then just loading the bag up with like free chips. But yeah, man, I mean, American Vandal, like, yeah, that was wild. I didn't even know it was for American Vandal at the time, but you know, that's what's crazy about places like LA is like, you can just be on a show without even knowing it.
Yep. Because I remember watching, it was like episode 2 of season 1, just seeing your picture. It was like a small role, but we were all like, woo, one of us is making it.
Yeah. Playing a featured extra. Making $80 and stealing all the chips from Crafty.
Nice.
That's what's so weird now is acting pays so poorly, dude. And I'm glad they went on strike, because hopefully but with AI now, it's like featured extras are probably a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Because you know about that, right? You guys know about that, where they can just like scan you one time and then just use your likeness.
Yeah.
Yep. And to make you like a whole bunch of different things, like cowboy, pharaoh.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's no way. Well, look at how fast AI has been through this year. Like we thought like we were going to lose like truckers and a whole bunch of other things to like advancements in knowledge, and now actors and porn stars are losing their jobs.
Yeah. It's so weird, man. I'm interested to see like what even the next 5 years is going to look like. I think stand-up is safe though.
Yeah, because like comics were stealing it. The comics are going to be who lost AI lives, the ones who stole from AI.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm ready to bow to our AI overlords and serve them however they need to be served.
Yeah, it's interesting times we're living in.
Indeed.
Yep. And okay, that's looking at my bullet points because
That's all right.
That's
all
what I
right,
do.
buddy. That's what you do. I'm having a blast.
Yep. And I also want to talk about your time collaborating with Robert Bill when you guys did like Lester Reel. Like those those were so much fun.
Thanks, man. And through doing that with Robert, I got to meet a bunch of other people that I still collaborate to this day with. I mean, one of the guys, Eric Kalash, that helped us a lot with like our LA Lester Reel sketches. Him and I are writing a couple of projects right now that we're looking to shoot in the summer.
Nice.
So yeah, man, that whole experience, I mean, it was crazy the amount of content we put out for as long. I mean, we were putting out like not just a sketch, but like in some cases, like a short film a week.
Yep. Like the one where, like the episodes where Steve Gillespie replaced Robert.
Oh yeah. Oh, those were insane, dude. I mean, those I was in a really dark place at the time because we didn't really map anything out at the time like I would now. We were just like thinking like, okay, what can the next one be? And literally like writing it throughout the night because we had to shoot it the next day. But back then it's like we had nothing else to do. And I think, yeah, just making your own shit is the best way to get it out there. Like you can't really wait around for anyone.
Yep.
But,
the sketch I did with you and Robert was still like the height of my internet fame, being the extra in like I'm trying to think of it, was the one with like the book fairy.
Yeah, that was a great one. That's one of my favorite ones. Yeah, the book helps me stop 9/11. That was a pretty funny sketch. But yeah, I love that experience, man, and I love Robert, and I would love to eventually take some of our favorites of those and like make it into a pilot of some sort.
Yeah, that would be great. That you two would make a great show together.
Yeah, yeah.
Special shout out to Robert Burrell. Like he's one of the few comics in Minneapolis who gave me work without asking for it.
Yeah, he's the man, dude. He's a great guy.
Yep, and you were almost one of those too. Like, remember when I almost got on that one showcase, and then that one club owner did something racist with one of the other comics, and you just boycotted that show?
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough to because it was racism with another comic, but then also like going after my home club. So I was like, this just isn't something I want to be a part with. In retrospect, now I would probably just take the money and do the show. Cause it's a business.
Yep.
Like he's gonna go out, like he went out of business anyways. So
yep.
Yeah. But I'm sorry about that, Kelly. I gotta make that up to you.
I know there was pitfalls going in this business, and there's always another one around the corner.
Oh, yeah. You're telling me. You're telling me, bud.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, I think we're almost near the end of it. I got to head out to hit the mics pretty soon. I'm going to put my spot in the bucket at the mothership again.
Sounds good to me, man.
Good luck.
Thanks for having me on, dude. I really appreciate it. It was great catching up.
Yep, it was great talking to you again. Before we go, Mike, is there any advice you want to give out to any comics or just advice to people in general?
Oh yeah, bet on yourself, do what you love. And do what you love, and don't beat yourself up when it's hard. When you're pursuing something you love, when you're pursuing a passion or a hobby, as long as it makes you happy, that's all that matters. If you feel fulfilled, it's very hard with social media to fall into kind of the compare and despair trap.
Yep.
But just focus on what you're doing, and most importantly, like, be good to people along the way, and you'll have a great life.
All right, that's pretty good advice.
It's decent.
Yep. All right, well, thank you for being with us, Mike. And
Of course,
right.
bro.